Ladies, we dye our hair, we get fillers, we do Botox, all these things to look young. Why?
Why are we doing this? Why can't we just age gracefully and gratefully? And this is Chick to Chick.
Women spend so much money and so much time on anything and everything to look younger. Like, I don't know how early we start this, but I feel like I started looking at my mom at a certain age as she was looking at what she was going to do to anti-age. And I'm thinking, well, when do I need to start doing anti-aging? And then I have all daughters, and I'm sure they're like, well, when do I start doing anti-age? The point is, it just seems like all we're doing is like running down time. We're trying to figure out how to reverse it. And I get looking good. I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to look your very best. But are we doing it with the purpose of kind of distorting ourselves or going overboard, or what? Why can't we just love what we look like?
Well, and the thing that bothers me is that women, we get old. You know, you notice, oh, she's got gray hair coming out, or, she's packing on pounds. While men become distinguished.
Yeah, they're not as critical. We're critical.
Yeah, they get older and they're distinguished, and we get older and we're looking old. And so we go through all of these things. We dye our hair, we tint our eyebrows, we get Botox, we go through all of these things.
Yep.
And the big question is, why are we doing this? Why can't we just age gracefully
and gratefully?
Which brings us to our guest today, Lisa Rillo. Lisa, you started up a Facebook page, a Facebook group called Aging Gracefully and Gratefully. And first of all, thank you so much for joining us. And why did you decide to start this Facebook page?
Well, basically because of things that you girls are saying. We are trying to chase the fountain of youth. There is no fountain of youth. And what I feel like for me, and I wanted to share with others, is just learning to be and embracing where you are right now, no matter whether you're 29 or 79, embracing who you are and understanding as you grow older, we're all going to age. And so I created this page, and it is primarily women. For the reason that you stated, we do age differently. Our bodies are different. And women have a lot of stress on themselves, and we put that stress on ourselves, and that also ages us. So I thought with this page, that we could support each other, that we could grow together, that we could share our aging process, and that we could learn to be grateful for where we are right now in our lives.
That sounds really good. It sounds really good.
What, are you skeptical? What's going on over there?
I'm not skeptical. I am not skeptical. I think that sounds great. I think it sounds amazing. And I tell myself that all the time, just love who I am. Love how I look. Yeah, I'm getting older. So what? The problem is, Lisa, society. The problem is social media. The problem is all of these images that are out there of these young, perfect model women, and you just are like,
Or those filters, all these crazy filters. So what types of topics are you addressing with the women on this page?
We have about almost 185 women now, and most of them don't even know each other, which is kind of cool too. So I'm hoping there'll be some relationships that will build from this page. And to be honest with you, I just started a couple of months ago. So I'm still trying to develop what people want to talk about and what they want to hear about. And right now I'm working on self-care. And self-care is huge when we're aging. So, and it means your physical health, it means your mental health, it means your spiritual health. So I'm sharing things on self-care so that we can learn to hopefully love who we are and you know what, girls, there's nothing wrong with trying to look better. Nothing at all. I mean, we all want to look the best we can be. So I have no problem with that. I do things. I'm going to be 60 in about 3 weeks. So aging is definitely on the forefront of my mind. So I want to help others with things I've learned.
Wait a minute.
Stop it.
You're doing
Stop
aging wonderfully. 60? Get out of here.
So that tells me that, I mean, she looks beautiful
she gets
physically.
it.
She does get it, but she's doing it beautiful. She looks beautiful physically. But one thing I think that a lot of women need to learn to tap into, and you're talking about this right now, is mentally. What do we tell ourselves? And a lot of that is what is going to, be the driving force on what we then do and how we see ourselves. So do you think that having women in this sort of community where you're talking with each other, we're lifting each other up versus looking at things and being critical. So the mental component seems to be what you are really hitting on.
Yes, exactly. My mom used to always say, what you think about, you bring about. So you have to keep, the positive attitude, because it comes out. It comes out in our skin. It comes out in our face. We frown, we're unhappy, we get lines. We like our smile lines. That's okay. We call those character marks. But we have to lift each other up. We have to think about the positives in what's happening every day. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with trying to look good and feel good. And we'll talk about things like that as well. But I think the self-care topic so far has been really helpful to people, I hope. And I plan on reaching out to the group to see what other topics they want to cover. I really want this to be interactive. So far it has been. And I'm hoping, as I said, that actually small groups might develop from this to where people can lift each other up. One of the things that you said on a podcast a few weeks ago, you did one on strokes.
Yes.
And you had a guest on there, and she said to you, she felt like stress really impacted or, had played a role in her stroke. Guys, we can't have that much stress in our lives as women. So as we work on self-care, we're also working on that stress element, which will also help us to age more gracefully.
Yeah, she did talk about stress.
I was thinking of that in my mind when we were talking about this too.
And we talked about too that stress really can make you sick. So when you talk about self-care,
I was just going to say that. Stop
of
reading
course
my
you
mind.
were. When you talk about that, what are you advocating? What are you encouraging women to do when it comes to self-care?
Well, there's lots of different angles for self-care. One is social self-care. So what does that mean? That means finding your tribe, as we call it, or your group. And maybe this is that for some people. Maybe this is their group, so that you can have that social interaction, because it's really, really important part of self-care. Obviously, the physical part. I mean, we can go into many, many things, the foods you eat, the things you drink. I mean, all of those, the exercise that you do or don't do, all of that plays into self-care. Then you have the whole mental aspect of it. So what are you doing to help your mental state, the positivity and all those things that go into it? So those are some of the things so far that we're talking about. I plan to add more things to it as we go along.
Man, all of those things are things that we have talked about in so many different podcasts. So I think it is so wonderful that you are approaching this with that manner, because one of the things even I learned in the whole self-care, and a lot of it was because of quarantine, because of COVID, is boundaries. And I feel like so many women don't give boundaries for things, and that's like a gift.
Yes, boundaries are very important. I mean, we're women. As women, we're moms, we're wives, we're daughters, we're superheroes, we think. And we put our needs sometimes behind so that we can do what we need to do for our children and our husbands and our families, and we work, and so there is a lot, and we have to learn to say no. And that is part of that self-care and learning to control your environment so that you can be the best you can be.
And funny, we talked about saying no in a recent podcast too, about balancing work and life. And it is okay to say no. The sky is not going to fall. Nope. The world is not going to come to an end. It's okay to say, no, we're done here.
No is yes to you.
That's exactly right. And Lisa, very quickly, is this Facebook group open to anybody, and how do you find it?
It is private right now, just so that we can, you are welcome to ask me to join. I will, like I said, it's only women. I'm not trying to discriminate. However, women, like I said, we have different issues. So I want to keep it all women. You can just, request to join, and I'll bring you into the group. I'd love to have as many people as we can get, because I think the more we have, the better we are. And I really want everybody to embrace where they are and grow old gracefully.
Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for starting up this Facebook group. Thank you.
Thank you, girls.
I think it's so good. And I think there was one thing that she said: get your tribe together,
yes.
Get your girlfriend tribe. And you know what? Let's get a little bit more on that. Like, let's start going on these girls' trips and these girls' weekends
I'm
away.
there for it.
They are medicine. They
Yes.
are medicine for the heart and soul. And I always feel like when I do one of those weekend trips, I come back feeling refreshed.
Yes.
The stress goes away, and I'm like, yeah, I could do this.
Yeah.
I can do this.
I think these self-care groups are such a great idea. It's an easy way to just jump on and find out what women are thinking and feeling. Hey, we always enjoyed that you were jumping on to listen to what we are chirping about. So we hope you'll come back when we have the next topic to chirp about.